Today, over 5 billion people structure their daily lives, inform their morals, and organize their communities around one of 5 major religions, which include Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Judaism. These massive global institutions began as localized philosophies, isolated covenants, or the teachings of single prophetic figures. To understand how these specific ideas reached every corner of the planet, we have to rewind the chronological timeline and track the specific historical mechanisms they used to spread. Decoding the modern geopolitical and cultural map of the world requires us to look past theology and examine the precise vectors of human history. On the Indian subcontinent, the oldest cradle of faith, Hinduism emerged without a single founder. Instead, it is a synthesis of the prehistoric Indus Valley civilization, whose brick ruins at Mohenjo-Daro we see here, and later Vedic traditions. This theology revolves around the continuous cycle of birth and death. Past deeds create karma, which determines present circumstances, while the ultimate goal is to free the soul from rebirth and merge with the cosmic consciousness known as Brahman. As courts and rulers adopted Brahmanical culture, Hinduism expanded. Local deities were assimilated into the Hindu pantheon, and royal patronage carried the faith across South and Southeast Asia, leaving a significant architectural footprint like the one seen here at Angkor Wat. In the 5th century BCE, a renunciate named Siddhartha Gautama set out to solve the problem of human suffering, eventually achieving spiritual enlightenment and becoming the Buddha. He introduced a mechanical approach to liberation, teaching that suffering is caused by worldly desires. By using meditation to eliminate material attachments, a person can extinguish the cycle of reincarnation and realize a state of bliss called nirvana. This data map shows the trade arteries of the Silk Road and maritime merchant lanes. Buddhism reached new populations by hitching a ride on this international trade infrastructure. Traveling these exact routes, monks carried their texts out of India and established Buddhism as a core pillar of Central and East Asian society. The spiritual systems of the subcontinent established a dominant presence across the Eastern Hemisphere through the integration of local customs and the logic of merchant networks. In the ancient Middle East, the theological focus shifted toward the concept of strict monotheism. This open scroll is the Torah, the foundational text of Judaism. It codifies a covenant established between a single sovereign God and the Israelites, demanding ethical behavior bound by the 10 Commandments. Judaism utilized a specific vector for its spread. Facing shifting empires and conquests, the faith survived through the diaspora. As the Jewish people were dispersed, they maintained a community identity through strict adherence to these textual laws. The historical power of Judaism lies in its resilience. A localized covenant endured centuries of displacement, managing to survive and shape global thought by keeping its community and traditions intact. By the 1st century CE, an itinerant Jewish preacher named Jesus of Nazareth began his ministry. His followers proclaimed him the Son of God, believing his crucifixion and resurrection offered humanity salvation from the consequences of sin. Early Christianity was vulnerable, growing as an urban movement meeting in private homes to avoid persecution within the Roman Empire. In the year 313, Emperor Constantine legalized the faith through the Edict of Milan. With state sponsorship, Christianity transitioned into a formal institution, riding the administrative infrastructure of the Roman Empire to expand alongside its borders. Centuries later, a second wave of expansion occurred. This photograph of African boys in liturgical robes shows the result of European global colonization paired with wide-reaching missionary work. By embedding itself into the administrative frameworks of expanding global empires, Christianity scaled from a persecuted minority into the largest religion on earth. This ancient manuscript page shows early Arabic calligraphy recording the revelations dictated to the Prophet Muhammad in 7th century Arabia, forming the Quran. The text establishes a core directive: human life is to be lived in absolute submission to the will of a single sovereign God, Allah. While some historians previously argued that Islam expanded solely through forced military conquest, the actual history involves a more complex dual mechanism. While early caliphates did expand their borders through administrative conquest, the faith's reach relied heavily on decentralized networks. Long-distance merchants and Sufi mystics carried their lifestyle and faith deep into West Africa and across the Indian Ocean to Indonesia. Islam's global reach was a hybrid. It leveraged organized political building alongside economic and cultural exchange. As this global map illustrates, the overlays of these 5 major religions now intersect, blanketing every continent on Earth. Each tradition navigated distinct historical pressures to survive, utilizing trade routes, imperial conquest, diaspora, or the authority of sacred texts. Beyond the maps and mechanics, each of these systems achieved global scale by providing a structured framework for individual morals and a promised path towards spiritual peace. If the end goal for the human soul is described similarly across all 5 traditions, why has humanity continuously fought each other on the way to get there? Let us know in the comments which historical figure, empire, or era of religious expansion we should investigate next, and be sure to subscribe for more historical deep dives.